So today I am bringing you your daily self-love practice. And this is a really powerful practice, especially if you are just getting started on your self-love journey, or if you are finding that you're hitting a block and maybe experiencing some challenge with really prioritizing your self-love practice, prioritizing your needs. And this will just really give you some simple steps that you can implement that will really shift this for you so that you can really start to really feel and cultivate that self-love in your life. And for me, the biggest piece to this is really getting clear on what is self-love to you and why is it important. If you don't know what it is and what it looks like, then it's hard to know if you're actually making progress. And if we don't feel like we're making progress, then we often will give up because it feels like it's not working. So you do need to have that clarity of what is self-love to you? What does it mean to be embodying that self-love? Like, how would you know that you're actually experiencing self-love? How will that impact you? So if you do have this free-flowing love moving through you and your love cup is full and overflowing, what would that mean for you? What would that change in your life? And the other piece to this is like really knowing why it's important, how it's going to impact you, how it's going to impact those around you. Why is this important? And this is important because this is what's going to keep you going, especially in those really challenging times where we want to give up and we don't feel like doing the practice. We don't feel like doing what it takes to really cultivate that unshakable self-love. If you have a really strong why and you really know how implementing this practice, even when you really don't want to, if you know how it's actually going to impact your life and benefit you and benefit those around you, you'll find that you'll find that motivation inside. Often we're waiting for something outside of ourselves to motivate us, but that motivation needs to come from inside. Otherwise, it's very easy to knock you over and push you off your path. So just a little recap, like, what is self-love to you? Maybe taking a pause here and actually exploring this. Allow 15 to 20 minutes to really sit with your journal and brainstorm this. Just put anything that comes up. What is self-love to you? How does that look in your life? How does that feel? If you already had the self-love and it was just flowing freely and abundantly, what would life look like? What would it feel like? What would be different? And why is this important to you? What is your why? Because that's what's going to keep you going. And often it's in those times where you don't want to do it the most, where you don't want to do your practice, where you don't want to do your meditation or your yoga or whatever it is that you're doing. That's when we often need it the most. So I'm going to share a few more pieces to really help you build your self-love practice. And this is something that can evolve with you. So I'm going to give you some starting points and then you can weave other things into this to really make it your own. Because what you feel that you need in this season of life will be unique to you and it will change over time. But this is a really good foundational piece that I'm sharing with you, and then you can kind of play with it and explore different practices that you could bring into this and really make it your own. So after you've got that clarity of what is self-love to me, what does life look like and feel like when I have this self-love, and why is it important, how is it going to impact me and those around me? Once you've got that, what we really want to do is remind ourselves of this, because many of us are running around with old patterns, old belief systems, conditioning that is blocking us from having the self-love already. There is something that has gotten in the way of experiencing this self-love. And so we're often repeating the stories and the thoughts and the feelings, the emotions that are attached to those patterns and what we've experienced previously, which comes from that conditioning. And what I notice in my work, a lot of it does come down to inner child wounding. So healing those inner children can really support this in clearing those blocks and really opening you up to more effectively experience that self-love more freely, more abundantly. But that's another piece for another day. And coming back to what I really want to share with you of building those foundations for your daily self-love practice. So that having that clarity is going to really help you with this next piece, because what we're going to be doing here is actually taking the time to visualize what that life looks like on the other side of cultivating this self-love. So once you actually have cultivated it, you feel the self-love on a daily basis, it's flowing freely, it's flowing abundantly. What would life actually look like? And I know we've already touched on this, but now you actually want to visualize it rather than just kind of jotting all the different ideas down. You want to sit with this, really allowing at least 5 minutes to visualize the different areas in your life that this self-love frequency will impact. So when I love myself, this is how my business will look. This is how my work life will look. This is how my relationships will look. This is how my relationship to myself will look. This is the kind of thoughts I'm going to be experiencing. This is where I'll be living. These are the things I'll be doing. This is how I'll be responding in situations. The more specific you can get, the more powerful this will be. So really allowing at least 5 minutes. You might even find you can take more time, but you don't have to take a heap of time every day. Maybe one day you've only got a couple of minutes to really dive into this, and other days you might have a bit more time that you can really go into that visualization. Another piece to this is once you've got that visual picture and you can really feel it in your body, like the sensations, the emotions you're going to experience, you're going to bring it from the mind into the body. So we want to really actually feel it on a somatic level, rather than just thinking about it. We want to know how it actually feels. And that is actually how you begin to embody the frequency of self-love, of having this life that you truly desire, of having the relationships you desire. You want to embody the frequency so that it can actually gravitate toward you. And then you want to create a mantra and like a visual image that you can see every day. So write your mantra somewhere you're going to see it. This could be I love myself, or like an affirmation that really resonates, that encapsulates this vision for you. So finding an affirmation or a mantra that reminds you of this vision, that reminds you of this life that you are cultivating for yourself. And for me, I have my mantras on my reminders app in my phone. I like to write them down physically, maybe in my journal, and actually writing them down in there. Or you could create like a poster and somewhere where you're going to see it every day. I know some of my clients write it on their bathroom mirror, and they have sticky notes. So it's finding what feels good for you, where you're going to see it every day. And every time you see it, take a moment to read it and really feel it. Remember how it feels in your body to be living in the frequency of self-love and be living in this reality that you're creating. And a visual image is really powerful. If you can find something maybe online or in Canva, I really love using Canva to create beautiful graphics and images that again encapsulates your vision. So you've got a visual image and you've also got a written, and this is just different ways that we are putting a new program inside. So I spoke about the different conditioning that is held in the body, which often keeps us attached to old patterns and conditioning and stories that aren't serving us. So we want to reprogram. And so having these different ways that we remind ourselves and anchor in that vision will be really, really powerful. And so what I want to close on here is when I spoke about embodying the frequency. So often we tend to, and I see a lot of people doing this, and it's something that I did in the beginning as well, is we do a lot of like the positive thinking, we do our affirmations, we do our vision board, but we keep it up in the head. We're not actually feeling it in our body. And often we're visualizing it in the future. We're speaking our affirmations from a future perspective. We need to be speaking in present moment tense, and we also need to be actually feeling in our body what it's going to feel like when that happens. Because the reason we want something in our life is because we want to feel a certain way. And we have this idea that I will feel that when I have the thing. But if we're constantly waiting for the external to change, then it's almost like we're just kind of living in the future, and it's always in the future. We need to bring it into the present moment and become the frequency so that it actually gravitates toward us, rather than you chasing this ideal reality or this ideal version of yourself or this ideal experience. You want to feel it now as best that you can, and this might be challenging on some days, and that's okay. You just keep practicing it. It does get easier to really feel it. Something that can be really helpful here is reflecting on a time where you felt the way that you desire to feel. So was there a time in your life where you felt love for yourself, or you felt love from someone else, or you felt joy in your life, or you felt at peace or at ease? Whatever it is that you're wanting to feel, is there a time you remember feeling that? And that can be really helpful, just to remind you of what are those sensations you experienced? What are the emotions you experienced? What were the thoughts you were having? So you can really bring that experience into the now moment and embody that frequency. And that is really the key here. If you're wanting to shift your present reality, you need to shift it in the present rather than thinking it's going to happen in the future. Because if we're thinking it's happening in the future, that's where it stays, in the future. And we get stuck in this like chasing game, and then we often find ourselves feeling really defeated and disheartened and disappointed because it hasn't happened yet. So we want to release any expectation, pressure, or attachment to when it has to happen, or how it has to happen, or what needs to change in order for us to feel this way. We shift the internal, which is what shifts the external, not the other way around. Many of us are waiting for the external to change before the internal changes, but it's the other way around. So just a little recap of what I've shared here, just to bring it all together, and just remembering that this is your foundational piece to your self-love practice. This can be infused with other pieces and other practices that feel really powerful, like breath work, meditation, a movement practice, maybe even dance. Dance is a really beautiful way to open up the body, open up the energy field, and really allow energy to flow in it. It brings a lot of goodness to the body. You tend to feel a lot more elevated, so I highly recommend playing a favorite song or a high vibrational song that makes you feel really good, and just allow your body to move. Shaking is really good as well, because shaking is a really beautiful way and a powerful way that we release and open up ourselves to receive. So many of us are holding so much tension in the body, and we're in such a contracted state, which is not a receiving state. When we are trying to shift our reality, we need to be in an open, receptive state. So shaking the body, releasing any limiting beliefs and thoughts that say, I can't do this. Shaking is a really amazing way to do that. And as you probably know, as a listener of this podcast, I do have my Raw Embodiment app, and that's free to download, free to sign up, and there's some other practices that you could bring into your daily practice as well. But to get started, we start with that big vision, getting real clear on what is self-love to me, why is it important, how is this going to impact and benefit my life, but also the lives of those around me. Because when it goes beyond ourselves, it's even more impactful, and it really strengthens that why, and will really be extra motivating, extra like inspiring, of like, this isn't just for me, and it gives us a sense of purpose, a sense of like mission. Create that mantra, that visualization, and really feel it in your body, not just seeing it in the mind, feel it in your body. And we want to actually have that mantra and a visual image that encapsulates this big vision, and we want to expose ourselves to that every day as often as we can. Repeat this mantra, feel in your body how it feels to have this self-love flowing through you easily, abundantly. And then really practice embodying the frequency. So you want to feel the way that you desire to feel, the way that you think you'll feel when you have this self-love. You want to feel that every day. You want to remind yourself of it every day. And even the days where you're like, I just can't be bothered, I feel horrible, I don't want to do it, that's when it matters the most. So keep showing up, put those reminders on your phone, and then from here, you can infuse this with breath work and meditation and dance and movement, shaking, anything that really feels aligned for you. And that can change every day just to really shake it up. Because sometimes if we're doing the same thing every day, that really works for some people, but others might get really bored and like, oh, I don't want to do it, it's not fun anymore. So mix it up and play with this. Allow yourself to really explore, be playful, try different things. Even try different locations, going to the beach or into nature to do your practice. And let us know how you go with this and what comes up for you. And it's always just really, really lovely to hear from you and how what I'm sharing is landing for you. So definitely reach out and let us know how you go.